Hey y'all, it's Jordan from Jordan Budgets. Today we are here, unfortunately, for a cash unstuffing. We will talk in just a second about what has changed and why we're unstuffing our weekly binder, our month ahead savings. This was for Christmas, this was for birthdays. I'm a little sad about it. We're gonna talk about it though, because overall I think it's just what I need. I did just have a big move. I shouldn't be too hard on myself. I also bought a bunch of new products for work, so here we are. I will say though, quickly before we do the unstuffing, because I know that's what most everybody is here for, I did start tracking this month, just start tracking a bit better. I got off the wagon, as you might say, with tracking my expenses, tracking my income. I have not been doing this for like a solid year. I had a really terrible rental situation about like almost a year ago, and I've really been off course with everything since that happened. So this is the month that I got back on track with tracking. All of these big no's are no spend. I've been putting a lot of money towards debt. That's what all of these blue stickers are. And then I've been getting paid pretty consistently. This is mostly YouTube, and actually one of them is YouTube. The $546 is, the rest of it is Etsy. I've still been getting words. I've still been getting paid pretty consistently with Etsy. Thank you to everybody who supports my shop over there. However, in this last year, I will say things have it's slowed down a lot as I offer less things. We're gonna talk about that in a second too. I only have a couple of bills right now. That's gonna change next month. We have a lot to talk about, y'all, but that's either we'll get into it like while we're unstuffing this money before we have the chance to count it. We'll just kind of chit chat and catch up on all the things, or we'll get to it in another video. I did want to show you quickly though, kind of an overview. This is grocery spending. I'm spending, I would say, about $200 per week on groceries. I have a mortgage note, a car note. My boys' phones is $42.32. And then I pay for $45 for grass. That looks like 11, but it's actually 2 tally marks. I have paid for grass a third time now though. So I'm not paying every single week for grass, which is nice. The guy that I have hired comes about every 10 days, which is amazing that he's able to put me on his schedule like that. I'm very thankful because it makes a big difference to pay every 10 days versus every week, right? So these are some reoccurring expenses. I'm just trying to show you guys, like, I'm getting better about tracking and show you kind of where the money is going, because this is not something I've been really good about doing until lately. So the thought is that we will talk about my budget more on this channel, like talk about the real numbers, and I will be transparent in sharing what I'm taking out and kind of what I'm adding in. Fast food is what's here. $35, $108 for week 2, but it's been more reasonable than that. I'm also counting, a grocery store near me does steak night. It's like steak, a potato, a veggie, a roll. That might be it, but it's a lot, like, and it's a big piece of steak. It's $10 for like a whole meal. This week and last week, I paid $40 to do that for like my whole family, for my parents as well. And I put that in fast food. So some of these numbers from week 4 and then week 5, which isn't written down, it looks like it was a little worse than it actually was. I'm comfortable with, I'd say, like $30 or less for fast food, especially because sometimes I consider family style meals when we have company or something. Like, I consider that also fast food. Now this 108, got to get that under control. That is ridiculous. Outschool, we did end up canceling. My son loves Outschool, but honestly, we've been missing it. Outschool is basically like you can take classes for pretty much anything out there, and he was in a class he really enjoyed, but it totaled about $75 per month, and I have full intentions of getting him back in this in a month or 2. I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of a break with that as a bill. These are like reoccurring. Disney and Peacock I did just cancel, so we will only have, in July, we'll only have Netflix. And what else? Gas. I would say I spend about $30 a week on gas, so that was cool to find out. And then here is all of my spending. You can pause if you would like to see exactly what my spending is here. I will say though, the only things that I consider, like, I kind of went above and beyond on, the rest of it's really quite normal. I did get the boys both brand new raincoats, and it was almost $100. I probably should have tried harder to get those used. However, I do like buying quality items, because then eventually down the line, little brother gets it and it still is pretty nice and new. And then eventually I get to pass it on to another family. So when it comes to clothes, I tend to prefer to buy nicer brand stuff. And I think all of us have something like that, right? Clothes just happens to be my thing, and everything else I'm pretty willing to be cheap with. Under that same train of thought, I did buy myself shorts and 2 swimsuits. I haven't bought myself a swimsuit in forever, and I paid $170 for those things. So I probably should have tried to find all of those things secondhand, because I could have found some nice brands that are still pretty nice. Sorry if that was like too long for you. Let's get into the cash unstuffing. I will say though, I would like to start kind of showing you guys a little bit more of this on a regular basis, so you can really see where my spending's going, what I'm deciding to cancel, and that kind of thing. Okay, I said we were moving on, but one more second. I did just want to show, I go through and I like to write everything down, and then as I'm seeing how much I spent for the week, I kind of highlighted based on categories. So out school and phones, that's like bills and reoccurring are yellow, so you can see kind of easily. Spending is this bright red, for example, like, you know, gifts for Father's Day and going to the zoo. So more like not reckless spending, because I didn't do too much of that, but just general spending that doesn't fit into a need. Okay, so that is it with this. I will be sharing this more on cash stuffing videos. I'll just kind of do like weekly recaps, I think, instead of making whole videos out of it. I'm going to be sharing that. So if you are new to this channel, by the way, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Jordan. I am a single mom, and I am obsessed with cash stuffing. I love paper planners, which I would love to bring back onto this channel, but primarily right now, especially, we do cash stuffing, and today we have a cash unstuffing. In the future, I would like to bring back like work vlogs. So if any of that interests you, we would love to have you as a part of our little budget fam. It's free to subscribe, and it really supports my channel and helps us grow. Y'all, look at this. So this is actually my weekly binder, which I did do weekly spending, but for whatever reason, I just, like, I have a fanny pack. Is there a cooler name for that? A lap belt, maybe? We're just gonna chat while we unstuff, and I'm gonna explain myself here. I didn't use this because because it's summer, and I've been on the go doing like hikes and outside stuff, which is weird for me to do hikes and outside stuff in the summer. Typically, so in Mississippi, the summer season is when we would hide out. Nobody was really doing much. But here, the weather is so nice, and I know it's gonna be winter again soon. So we are outside and on the go 24/7. So I would like to, again, use this wallet, but I think realistically it needs to wait a couple months, because right now I'm carrying a small lap belt thing. So for a time I was just pulling the cash from the categories as I needed it, but it's not being super helpful right now. It will be helpful again once I'm carrying around a full purse. So I actually had some money in here, and again, we're just gonna, we're pulling all of it. It is all going to the bank, and we can talk about why as I continue to unstuff. But this is our June binder. The idea was we were saving for July's bills. Now I do still need to pull $800 of this money, all the money, I guess. I need to pull $800 of all of the money to pay my mortgage, because that is coming up. However, if for whatever reason we can't use this money, I think I will just use next week's check, like Etsy money that's coming my way, and pay the mortgage so that this can go towards debt. So let's talk about why I'm pulling all of the money. I'm pulling all of this, so that was mortgage, this is bills, but at this point it really doesn't matter. I just said last week that we were not gonna pull the money because I thought it would be very motivating to get rid of the little bit of debt that I do have. I am not somebody who keeps debt, really. I would say overall, my spending is pretty in check with what I make. Like if I don't have the money, I'm not gonna spend it, because I just don't like money sitting on credit cards. And I'm very thankful for that. I know a lot of people really struggle with credit card spending. However, when we moved here to Iowa, let's talk about my poor decisions. So I made a trip up here right before we moved because I wanted to move stuff in, like, was it December? I don't know. Basically, I made a trip up here to like vacation and to move some stuff into the house, and that cost money to make the trip up. I also, because it's 14 hours of just drive time, and I make that drive by myself because I'm a single mom and I've got the kids. So I don't feel comfortable driving 14 hours straight all the way through, because you think about it with kids too. you end up stopping a lot for bathroom breaks and snacks and things. So it's a 2-day trip for us. So we made a vacation trip up here. I remember what it was. My memory is so bad. So I remember now it wasn't to move stuff up, though we did bring some stuff up. So we brought a smaller U-Haul up with some of my stuff, and my parents helped me make that trip because I needed help getting the U-Haul up, and I really wanted to move some stuff and get the boys excited about Iowa because I was so nervous about how they were gonna feel about a big move. They both had really good friends back home. You know, I was just worried it was gonna be a whole thing, right? I will give the quick update is that we've been here for several months now, and they of course miss their friends in Mississippi, but it's not like a depressing level. Like, they're pretty good. We've made new friends here. I had a harder time than they did, but which was unexpected. I thought I was gonna do great. Anyway, that's beside the point. Point is, I made a trip up here that I had budgeted for. I budgeted for that initial trip in December. I paid for a U-Haul. We had a little vacation here. We were here for Christmas. It didn't snow. We were really hoping for a white Christmas, but it was still a good trip and it was worth it. But then I, for real, moved, what was it, March? And I had already used my U-Haul money on the first trip. I had already used my hotel money on the first trip up. So by the time it came for me to actually move here, I had to put myself in debt to move, right? Like, to get up here. We're gonna count all this at the end. So if you're hanging out just for the cash stuffing or cash counting, that's gonna be a little bit towards the end, but we will get there. I just enjoy chatting and catching up with you guys too. It never fails though, whenever I have a chatty video like this, somebody, really, realistically 10 people are gonna comment, oh my God, you chat so much. It's like, what do you want me to do? This is literally, I will say, this is what this channel is. It's chatting and money. It's both of those things, okay? Because I would feel really awkward about just, see, I can't even do it. I was trying to make it awkward for like hot minute and just not say anything. I would feel so awkward just standing here and not saying anything, but I guess the whole ASMR phase, cycle, trend is the word I'm looking for. Why am I karate chopping at you guys a lot? Trend is the word that I'm looking for. I mean, I guess it is a trend to do that, but it's just not me. Anyways, I'm making a short story long here. What I'm really trying to say is I put myself into debt with the actual move up here. There was one night of a hotel, which I did not think about it. I actually came up on a Saturday. Hotel stays for me in previous trips, or hotel stays for me are usually $100, but I'm a homeschool mom, and so I usually plan trips on weekdays. Well, it didn't occur to me until it was like the day for me to move, and I planned this trip and move for a Saturday. So I paid like $200 for a hotel room, which I've never done in my life. I love Drury, and by the way, not sponsored, not affiliated. They don't know I exist, but Drury is my absolute favorite because you get free breakfast, and then at night they do like, it's kind of like a happy hour thing, but they do serve alcohol, I guess, which really wasn't my point, but I don't drink because it's just me and the boys, and why would I do that? But adults get 2 drinks free if you want them, and then kids get, well, everybody gets like fountain drinks and coffee, and they say it's not a dinner, but it really is. It's like chicken Alfredo and hot dogs and hamburgers. Like they do, oh, popcorn. They do like snacky foods, nachos. I think it might change depending on the night and where you go, but it's $100. It's clean, and they feed you basically 2 meals while you're there. That was, I guess all of this is just a side note. So we cleaned out June binder now, so we are getting there. Like I basically paid like $2,000 for a moving truck. I paid $200 for the hotel stay, and then I had bills to pay here. You know, like it was just a lot hit me all at once, and I got here and I got very excited about being here and having space for work stuff again. So I had about a $2,000 work purchase that I somehow justified by saying, oh, well, you know, I'll sell it and I'll make money off of it. So I bought, actually, one of the things was these binders, which have been selling. I mean, it's been great. It was not a bad decision. I love these. And I restocked a lot of stuff I was running out of. that I use to create these. So I create all the insides and all the pretty stuff, but like I buy these really thick plastic things. So basically $2,000 for work, a little over $2,000 for move. And I just kind of thought, oh, you know, at this point we're up $5,000. And I thought, oh, well, I will just work really hard and pay it off. However, in typical motherhood fashion, I really moved here and I've kept the priority on the kids, which kids should always be the priority, right? But in keeping the kids a priority and making sure they find new friends, I'm out of the house way more than I even was in Mississippi trying to make them friends. So I've reached the point though where I'm like, none of this is sustainable. I have got to get on a better schedule. I love what I do. I always say like I love my job, but like it doesn't even feel like a job. I love Etsy and YouTube. I love coming here to check in with you guys, but it tends to be, you know, I tend to put myself last and I tend to put this last. So I know that has to change though, because I am a single mom, but I tend to schedule my life as if I'm not, because if you think about it, all the moms I'm hanging out with are homeschool moms, and I would say 95% of them are not working, you know? So like I tend to create a very busy schedule and try to keep up with everybody else when it comes to a busy schedule, or like a homeschool schedule where we're really out of the house. And I think I need to narrow down the days that we're out of the house to be like, okay, these are the 3 days that we are allowed out of the house during the day for like homeschool functions and or family events. And the other days of the week I need to be working during the day, you know? I will say too though, my presence on YouTube is not as connected to that train of thought. I could be around on YouTube a lot more, but my living situation at the moment is that I'm sharing the space with family. So it's just a little bit harder to film. I have some updates with housing though. Nobody panic, I'm not moving across the country, but I guess this is as good a place as any, though you might get a real video. This is a real video, but you might get another video. You might get a more full video in the future really explaining where we're going and what's going on. But there is a short story of some more chaos that is going on in my life. And this one is self-inflicted. Okay, so we did move to this duplex thinking it was going to be the long-term solution. I thought that because my boys are getting a little bit older, they are now almost 8 and almost 10. I thought for sure they were going to be getting kind of like over outside time, and I thought this duplex was going to be fine. Again, we did purchase this duplex. We absolutely should have rented here to get to know the area and make sure this land was going to work for us anyway. Well, my camera died, so I figured I would go ahead and fix the angle while I was at it. I was just saying, I think, so this duplex that we're in, there is no family drama. There's nothing wrong with the like living situation. It has to do with the land. So I thought my boys would we're kind of aging out of outside time, and they're really not. We are so depressed. I'm also like an outside person. I like to go out into a yard and like, I don't know, work on a garden. I like to watch my boys play in the pool. I like to clean a pool. Like I just like some outside chores and activities, and we have absolutely no yard here for any of that. And I realized pretty quickly that this was not gonna work for me. And my dad my parents got here, when did they get here? A few weeks ago. I think my dad was here 2 days, and without knowing that the yard was such an issue for me, he vocalized that like he wasn't gonna be able to do this no yard situation. So we are collectively as a family looking for a different property that has some land. So that's another reason this debt is really kind of like weighing heavy on me. I'm not so worried about Christmas and birthdays. Like, yes, it was the goal. Yes, I would love to have these stuffed, but realistically, I have about $3,000 out of that $5,000. I've been able to pay off $2,000, but I can't seem to shake the last few thousand, because it's like as soon as I pay off some debt, then I don't have the cash that week to fund what's going on during that week. So, you know, typical issues with debt is once you have it, it's kind of hard to get rid of it because you keep having needs, right? So I'm very hopeful, although I don't know if there's that much here, but I'm hopeful this totals about $2,000 or more. And then, like I said, I can use my next check to pay my bills. And then hopefully we will just have a little bit of debt left, because we will still have some, but it might be a number that we can actually get rid of in 1 month. I was trying to get rid of all my debt this month in June, and I don't know if you guys like really paid attention. I paid about $1,000 per month, but because then I had less money to use on the week, it just like it kept going. Here's the other thing too, because I did very recently, probably the last video you saw from me, I said, oh, well, I want to keep the debt. I don't want to pull from my binders and pay it off because then I won't be as motivated to pay it, right? Well, what happened was I got a I got a $100 interest charge, which it could have been worse, but I got that $100 interest charge on one of the cards, and I was like, oh no, we are not gonna be paying interest every month. I'm not gonna do that. I've got some cash here. Let's go ahead and try and take care of it. I do think too, now that I'm tracking in my, I'm pointing at my notebook that you can't see, but now that I'm tracking in my planner, my spending and stuff and setting myself some goals, I do think my spending is actually gonna get a bit better. I don't think it was out of control this month, but I did spend about $300 on clothes. While I felt it was smart purchases, because we kind of need it, like we don't actually need it. You know, we could have gone without. We could have gone and found some cheaper options. Clothes is not something that I buy for myself, but when I do buy it, I would prefer to buy something nice that I feel like is gonna last, so I don't have to go purchase it again in the future. So like the swimsuits that I purchased for myself, they were quite pricey, but I won't buy myself swimsuits again for like another decade, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't feel so bad. So anyway, that is a huge whirlwind of my life, and I'm feeling like we have a pretty good amount going over here. Again, my hope is about, well, I guess we did pull our rent money too, $2,500. I'm hoping this is about $2,500. Pause here and comment below if you want to play along. Comment below what you think is gonna be here. We do still have a little bit of this one, which is saving for birthdays, and then this one, which is saving for Christmas. Comment below what you think it is. We are, of course, going to count it at the end of this video, but just for funsies. So I hope that you guys are doing well. I do feel, overall, I feel like I'm doing well. The boys are doing well. Everything is fine. It's just, I will say with the move situation, because I did just kind of drop, this is something that's been playing in my head for months, but you guys are just getting let in on this information. As far as the move again goes, I am very thankful that my parents are also on board, because I did have a couple months of thinking, oh no, if they're happy here, I will be moving somewhere in Iowa, but on a property by myself. So I'm happy to report we are all still moving somewhere else, which, to be completely fair, our long-term goal in moving here in Iowa was to get here, to be in this duplex. Like, this was always part of the plan, was to get here, be in the duplex for a while. Though admittingly, I think we all thought the duplex was like a 5-year plan, and then we would eventually move somewhere with a little more land, so that like if the boys, when they're older, if they wanted to build a house on the property or something, you know, who knows what can happen in the future. But we had always moved with the intention of having a family property, not just this like duplex. But I think I know the original plan though was to be in this duplex for a while we all saved money. However, you know, we're moving ahead. We do not have a place yet. So I'll keep you guys updated on how that changes if and when we find somewhere. So I'm excited, it's all good, but oh, I guess I should clarify too. We're not moving out of Iowa, we're not moving out of the area. We do like the area that we're at, we like it here. So it's not like I'm gonna be making an across the country move again. Luckily, we're all planning on staying here in the same area. So any future move that may happen, hopefully in the next few months, that move would it would just be happening somewhere like within town. So I would not need to purchase a U-Haul again. I would not need to like move everything all at once. We could probably rent or borrow a little trailer from somebody and move over somewhat slowly, but I guess I really don't know. We will see. Hopefully you learn from my decisions though. Let me just tell you, my opinion is now, if you are moving to a brand new area, I had never even visited the Midwest, right? So if you're moving to a brand new area where you don't know anything about anything, which I did not, and you're also kind of not sure what your non-negotiables are, I guess I thought that it wasn't going to be a big deal for me though. I guess I would say under any circumstance, I think it's smart to rent for 6 months or a year and then purchase, because we as a collective family definitely are going to be losing a lot of money in this selling this house again that we just purchased to buy something else. So learn from me, rent for a while. Most of you probably already know that. If you have ever made big moves, go ahead and comment below too. Let all of us know, like, what are your tips, tricks, or thoughts when it comes to moving? Like, what are some things you think you should do, especially when it comes to purchasing or being in a new area? If you have any help or insight in that, we would love to hear from you. I feel like I have definitely learned a lot these last few months. Oh, I know something else that was, so it wasn't just the yard for the boys. The other big thing, which this also feels so dumb, y'all, I'm so wishy-washy and back and forth, but y'all know I spent a time in a tiny studio, like the tiniest spot with the boys after the fiasco that was my rental situation. If you don't know the backstory, we can get into it another time. But when I moved out of my rental home and into a tiny space living, there was a portion of time, especially when we were deciding to, like, you know, purchase this duplex, there was a portion of time where I was telling myself and kind of everybody in my family that when we moved, let me just make sure this is empty, that when we moved, I was gonna focus more on YouTube and move away from my Etsy shop. I was thinking there for a time, like, about giving up on the paper planner. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, my bills will be so much cheaper here. I'll just kind of float by and, like, I don't know. I was just having a moment. I've moved so many times, which again, oh my gosh, if you guys are new to, like, my channel, if you're just finding me in this video, I'm sorry. This is a hot mess. This is like a lot of stories in one, but I've moved probably 14 times in the last decade. Like, I've just moved a lot as I became a single mom. I moved a lot when I was married because that was a really unstable situation. It's just been kind of a mess trying to find my bearings after an abusive marriage. Like, that's the long story short. And I feel like I felt like I had finally done it. This has nothing to do with the business, but let me just tell you sort of where my head was at and why I was like, I just need somewhere cheap to hunker down. Because I'm sure I'm not the only person who has felt like that, right? But I'm also hated that I kind of gave up on my dreams there for a minute, but I'm giving you the backstory. I moved so much and I felt like I had finally arrived in life. Like, when I got that rental, I loved that little rental house, but the landlord, you know, apparently, come to find out, it was not a good living, like, it was cute, but it was not kept well, or I think even legally, you know, allegedly, in my opinion. So it was a situation, but I thought while I was living there, because, like, my Etsy shop was booming and I was really good about uploading consistently, and I found a really good rhythm with the boys and their homeschooling in that house, and I was just at such a high point in life. Like, I went from a really small, cute apartment to that rental. I was feeling really good. I think because that rental situation ended the way that it did and it was so abrupt, and then we moved into a tiny studio because I was just trying to, like, survive all of that, but I knew we were moving soon. Anyway, I think moving into that studio really did me no favors as far as how I was feeling about my business, my place, you know, like, everything. I think I should have probably at that time just moved to Iowa or signed a lease somewhere nice and inspiring, you know, for a year. So anyway, while I was in that tiny studio, I was just kind of deciding, like, okay, if I can keep my bills really cheap, like, all I need is living space. I'll make do. I'll film YouTube videos, which I do love, but I don't really see YouTube being my full-time thing, and, like, dealing with sponsors all the time and that kind of stuff, you know? I really like Etsy and YouTube both. I don't want to give up either, but it took me moving into this house to realize that. If anybody's still with me, like, comment below that you're still with me in the middle of my rant about the house situation and, like, YouTube and Etsy, because, man, I've gone off on some tangents on this one. So I'm trying to just, all has a crease, which does eventually kind of lay back out. I'm just trying to help it. As soon as, I know what I was saying, literally as soon as I moved in this house, the minute I moved into this duplex, I said, oh my God, I have space again. I could relaunch my business. I can put all of my stuff back on Etsy. I can get everything out of tubs, and I can create new stuff, which is how I ended up with some of that work debt, right? I started purchasing a bunch of stuff like, oh, I do want to do this forever. I think I was just really depressed in the little space. Anyway, the thing with this house is there's literally not enough yard in any direction for me to add on and have an actual office. So once I moved here and I was all re-inspired and I was very excited to not only grow my current business on Etsy, but to do the paper planner line again, it was in that moment that I realized, like, oh my God, that I can't fit a business in this space, in my 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's actually a 2-bedroom with an office, so it's not even a true 3-bedroom, but it's maybe 1,200 square feet. It's perfect. It's perfect for us, for me to have a little office if I were just filming. But to have 2 businesses, which is really my dream, to launch that paper planner line, and I would love to keep Etsy going as well with this like cash budgeting stuff. To do all of that, there's no way I can do that on this property. So as soon as I moved to, I keep wanting to call this Utah. If I call this Utah, somebody, I mean Iowa. I lived in Utah for a time, and it's another one of these like northern states, you know, to my southern brain. So I keep trying to call Iowa Utah. Anyway, literally the moment I moved to Iowa, I was looking for work warehouses. Like, and then we're back to the point though, like I don't want to pay somebody else $900 a month. And just like that house rental situation, you kind of don't know what kind of landlord you've got until you're there and it's too late. So that was really, in addition to the boys really wanting a yard, I would say ultimately the biggest factor for me is that I want a work warehouse or at least a big shed, I don't know, something, so that I can grow the businesses and these ideas that I have, because it's really where I find a lot of happiness, and it's really where I feel productive. I feel productive with like the boys' homeschooling stuff and all of my mom jobs and things, but I don't know, this is my stuff that I feel like is for me. I love creating cash budgeting stuff. I have all of these hand-drawn ideas for the paper planner line that I just haven't had the money to get off the ground. And truthfully, I think all of this stems from, are we in, is this a counseling session, Jordan? I feel like it might be. I feel like all of this back and forth and wildness, like, and also my inconsistency, it really just stems from not feeling like I've had a settled place. But like as I get closer to having a settled place, I'm getting more and more excited about getting my work schedule back on track, getting kind of everything back on track so I can get back to doing stuff that I love. So, was that the longest rant I've ever had on this channel? It might be, which would actually be surprising because I do a lot of chatting on this channel. So what do you guys think? What do you think I have going on here? I'm hoping for 2,500, and that should get us kind of straightened out this month. All right, so a couple more minutes, I think, and then we're going to count this cash. My camera died, so I took the opportunity to take a little picture or a little thumbnail before we got started again, in sort of trying to get my everything kind of back on track. I am listing a lot of the old stuff that I used to sell. Unfortunately, I'm just kind of deciding we're going to retire it. You're still gonna be able to purchase things digitally, and I may revamp or just do some quick edits on some savings challenges, and then I might sell those savings challenges, for example, again in the future. Like some of the old designs might come back just a little bit revamped, but they also might not. Okay, we're finally counting the cash. Are you guys excited? Last chance for final guesses. I'm a little nervous because this is a lot of ones. So we may not have that much, but let's go ahead and find out. All right, we are going to start with the 50s. I did just go grab a sticky note because I can't find my calculator and I'm probably gonna have to write this down. 50, 150, 250, 350, 450, 500. Let's just say 550. We're gonna have to tally at the end because I'm gonna get lost. Okay, so we have 550 in the 50s. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40, 60, 80, 600, 20, 40, 640. So we're almost at 1200. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300, 310. We're at 1500 so far. So should we go back to our original hope that it is about 2000? I don't think that it's going to be, which makes me kind of sad, but it's okay. At least we know what we are working with. I'm definitely going to be using all of this for the debt, and then next week's paycheck on Etsy I can use towards my mortgage and my car, which is probably all it's going to cover. So it's probably going to be another funky month. It's going to be another funky month, and cash budgeting is going to be at a minimum, but maybe we will just keep checking in on Paper Planner for a couple of weeks until we can get back to cash stuffing. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. So we're at 200 with the 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 270. So we're at 1770. Okay, continuing off of the 70, we have 71, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80. I guess we'll put these, yeah, in stacks of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, can you guys even see me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna put our ones up here. A little bit of organization. Here we go. Oh my god, that's so much. That is so much ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I did have a couple of 5s mixed into those ones. So we have, let's just count what's new instead of adding to the 70. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, 80. Look, we're at 1850 and we have just a handful of ones left. I'm going to turn off the camera just to count these ones and come back once we are, like I have them sectioned out. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $60. And then we just had a leftover 2. So 62, 1,912. I'm not even mad about it. That's pretty good, guys. So we have 1912. I was hoping for 2,000, but it is okay. And the more I think about it too, I have pulled from these binders a couple of times to pay the yard guy. So I would have had 2,000. I would have had 2,000 if it wasn't for the yard situation. However, I'm actually quite happy with this. I hate that we had to pull Christmas and birthdays. And honestly, my boys' birthdays are very soon. But we will still make do. We'll still find a way to have fun. I just cannot splurge on them the way that I was hoping to. However, I think it's going to be really good for me and for them to know, like, okay, mom can only do so much. You know, like, we just moved. We can have a home party for once. Like, I usually go above and beyond, which is great because I love spending money on them, but it's not going to happen this year. We're going to be smarter about what we're doing and not just blow all of our money. I am happy that I had this here. I hate to pull it. I always hate to pull it, but sometimes you have to pull it, guys. Sometimes it is worth it to kind of get yourself back on track. I'm thankful this was here so that we could use it when we need it. You know, I am going to be able to get rid of most of that credit card debt. And then within this month, as long as I keep watching my spending and we don't go overboard with anything, this should be the month that we get rid of all of that like moving debt, and there will be a lot more cash stuffing and consistency past that point. If you would love to support this planet, no. If you would love to support this channel, please subscribe to the channel and please like the video. Go ahead and leave a comment. Any of that interaction does help our channel and help us grow, and I appreciate it. I think that's it. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.